There you go. Now you're recording. Where's Sean Michelle, buddy?
Can you hear it? Can you hear it?
Can't hear him.
1, 2, 3. Oh, no, that don't sound right. Hey, guess what, Clint? That must mean. And we got a big interview this time.
Big interview.
Big interview. We got the left tackle.
The man that watches KJ's Blind Side.
Finally, a real position player that we can connect with.
Right.
We understand. Luke Jones, the Razorback starting left tackle, the man who fought and earned that position this year. He joins us for this podcast.
Dude,
we can't be more excited to have him.
Unbelievable guy, unbelievable interview. Man, you realize how hard this guy had to work and how patient he had to be. I mean, he is the definition of grit and perseverance.
That's right. And doing a great job. And look, we talk a little bit about Saturday, folks, and yes, they're disappointed. And he talks a little bit about that, but we also talk about lots of other things. And so just watch this one, enjoy it. Luke's a great guy, a great young man, very respectful. His just neat guy, and really gave us a lot of good things, good answers to our questions, and it was a lot of fun. We got to thank Mike Floyd, who helps us out so much on this, and we also got to thank Hometown Roofing.
That's right, Hometown Roofing, Robert or Cammy, either one.
If your roof is got leaking or it just looks bad, if you've had a hailstorm within the last few months, storms went through just the other night. If there's some damage to your roof, call them up. It don't cost you a thing. They'll come check it out, tell you if you need a new roof, and they'll work with you with your insurance company to get you a new roof. Okay. So check them out. But enjoy this podcast, folks. This is a good one. These players, Clint, every one of them are great guys.
Yeah.
Great guys. And Luke, it was right up there with them, man. This was a lot of fun talking to him. And folks, enjoy it.
Boom.
Good stuff.
Woo pig.
Woo pig. They're going to beat them Tigers. Here we go. Kick it, Sean.
1, 2, 3, 4. You ever seen a lame man walk? Ever heard a dumb man talk? Never seen a blind man see? I promise you a change his name. You ever seen a cancer dead? Ever seen all the poor get fed? Ever seen a prisoner set free? I promise you a change his name. Broken heart made whole. Never seen an orphan find a home. Never seen a weak find the strength.
What's up, everybody? How you doing? How you doing? It's the Big C, Bigger T podcast. I'm your boy, Bigger T. And Clint, Big C. We finally did it, man.
We did it. We've arrived.
We got a real football player on the podcast.
Not that the other ones weren't, but
they had the jerseys and they play those other positions,
right.
Whatever. We got an offensive lineman, not just an offensive lineman, Clint. We have the left tackle, the blind side blocker, the man, Luke Jones from the Razorbacks. Luke, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Thank y'all for having me.
Man, it's good to have you on here. We're excited. We're excited to talk some real football with a real position player. Hey, this is good stuff. Someone
See, he's making sure we never get another position group. You gonna be reaching out to a secondary player like, no, I heard what you said to Luke.
That's right. Yeah. No, come on and prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. No, seriously. They'll understand. Big boys got to stick together.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, man, Luke, we sure do appreciate you coming on, and we're looking forward to this conversation. And look, we know we just want to forget Saturday, right?
Moving on.
Toss it out, move it on. But I do want to say this, fans are disappointed right now. Fans are upset right now. But I can promise you, no one is more upset and more disappointed than the players and the coaches. Because y'all are the ones that put your sweat and blood out there.
Mm-hmm.
And now, and you got to turn around right now, fix the things that need to be fixed, because those dirty Tigers from LSU are coming into town. And we know we want to send them back with their tails between their legs. So what's the mindset what's the mindset happening with the team right now? You're an older guy on the team, you're a redshirt senior, right?
Yes, sir.
So you've been around, you're probably one of the ones stepping up, helping set that mindset. What kind of mindset do y'all need to go into this week with to turn that around and to send them Tigers packing?
Right. So, Saturday was Saturday, obviously was not what we expected the outcome to be at all. Very tough, very just disturbing loss, if you know what I mean. And it's just, that one stung, that one's going to sting for a while, but now we're moving on to playing the number 6-7 team in the nation. And, it's today we went over the film, made our corrections, moving on. And now we just got to get back to Arkansas football. We got to find our identity again, something that we lost on Saturday, of really finishing plays, straining through blocks. I know the O-line had one of its tougher days that it's had in the past couple of years. And we take that personally. We have a big, we're going to get it back and get going. And the guys on the team are coming back stronger than ever. And we're just sticking together, and we're excited for this weekend.
Man. And that's what we want to hear, man. And that's what, and I just wanted to say that. I want to start off with that because we had to acknowledge the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's important for fans to remember, fans get all butthurt about stuff.
Yeah.
Y'all are the ones playing the game. You're the ones that are really dealing with that pain. We're just a bunch of wannabes out there that, they got a little keyboard so we can make some noise and sound all tough. But the truth is, it hurts y'all. And you want to make it better. You're not going out this week, oh well.
For sure. Yeah.
Now, you grew up in the Little Rock area, right?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. Did you grow up, you went to PA?
I went to PA. I grew up in Western Little Rock, kind of almost by Ferndale, if you know where that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a nice area out there.
Yeah. Right over there.
Well,
Now,
what
you
was
went
it
to
like
PA.
going to PA?
What'd you say?
What was it like going to PA and playing for Kevin Kelly?
Oh, man. That was an experience like no other. And what's crazy is that's all I knew at the time. And at the time, I didn't know what really any other high schools were doing things differently. Like, we're going for it on every fourth down, going on onsides every single game, never punting the ball. So whenever I remember just growing up, getting to junior, senior year, and all these other high schools are like, what y'all are doing is not normal. Like, it's not normal. And, Coach Kelly is I don't know how to put this. He's a very smart coach, but he does have times where he does things that are very unorthodox. But, it was really fun playing for him. And he's a big role model in my life, and we still talk all the time. And I was blessed to play with him, and I think it was a really good experience playing at PA.
Yeah.
Now, did you ever go to the movies with him? Because he's an avid moviegoer.
Yes, we
because
did.
I used to be the assistant GM at the Breckenridge Movie Theater in a
Yeah.
And so he'd come in all the time. So I actually got to know Coach Kelly a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would. I'd see him at least once a week.
Really?
Yeah. He loved going to the movies. As a team, whenever we would travel to out of state games, like I remember we played in Utah against East High, where they filmed High School Musical. We played over there in Utah, and we went to the movie theater. You know, every time we'd have a travel game, like we played in Kentucky my junior year, we always go to the movies. And I think any chance he got, sometimes during school, like when we had our football period, the last period, we instead of doing our walkthroughs, we go see a movie. And it's just, I think it's his way of just kind of like keeping us distracted from, I don't know, trying to be too nervous for the games or anything. But he definitely loved his movies for sure.
That's pretty cool. I
I
didn't
didn't know that, did you, Travis?
I didn't know that.
That's insider knowledge on this one.
That's it.
Yep.
See, y'all can't. No, one time they went back. It was way back when Houston Nutt was the coach, but they actually came in, brought the entire team into Breckenridge, and because I was the inside man, I got Travis the lowdown.
Yeah.
Tickets to that. He got tickets to the movie theater.
Yeah, it was before the LSU game. That was was that the London Crawford Miracle on Markham 2 game?
Miracle on Markham?
The second Miracle on Markham game where
I think it was before that because
anyway.
Yeah, because McFadden was.
Clint calls me up and says, "Hey man, you're coming to the movies Friday night."
Yeah.
Or Thursday, whenever it was. I was like, "No, I ain't going to the movies." He's like, "There ain't no movies I want to see." He's like, "You're coming to watch the new Jennifer Aniston movie." Well, I sure didn't want to see that. It was some dumb movie. And he's like, "Travis, the Hogs are coming and they're gonna be in there." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll go watch a movie with the Razorback." That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's something that we still do here at Arkansas whenever we have night games. So for Missouri State this year and A&M, we went and saw a movie both nights before those. We'll probably do it for Ole Miss next week too. Pretty sure.
Yeah, that got announced today. You finally get a night game.
Yeah, nice.
I saw a tweet the other day that someone said, if you ever feel like you're useless, remember there's lights in Donald W. Reynolds Stadium.
I saw that.
Did you feel like today at practice it was like nighttime, considering it looks like it's 9 o'clock?
That's funny. Yeah, it's funny you say that. It was, I think, 4:45 or something. The sun was setting, and it's weird because we're always out there all day long, and it's normally about this time it starts getting darker pretty early. But I forgot about the time change that happened on Saturday night, and it's getting dark real quick now.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, man, from PA, you were pretty heavily recruited, but I think you committed pretty early to Notre Dame, didn't you?
So I committed to Arkansas first.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Committed to Arkansas when Brett Bielema was here, and Kurt Anderson was the O-line coach. They had gotten fired during my senior year fall. Like right after my senior year, they had gotten fired, and I remember it was December. I was looking at Arkansas. They had just brought Coach Morrison, and I was talking to Morris, and I was like, I don't really know if I want to go. Brand new staff. I don't really know anyone. Notre Dame had reached out to me prior, and I told them no, I'm committed to Arkansas. So I went up there on a couple visits. Ended up committing to Notre Dame, flipping from Arkansas. That was a pretty rough Twitter day. I'm not gonna lie.
I bet it was.
I remember.
I'm sorry for all those. No, just joking.
My bad, man.
Yeah. No, but but went there for a year and ended up transferring back, which ended up being a great Twitter day. So they came back onto my side after that one. But yeah.
So what was it like playing up at Notre Dame?
Cold. Very cold. Very cold. It was different, it was a great experience, to play under Coach Kelly and be part of that program. But, my heart belongs in Arkansas, and that's where I knew I needed to be.
Were you a fan of the movie Rudy?
I was not, actually. I was not, but I've seen it before. I've seen it. Yeah, it's a good movie.
Clint and I are big fans, so
yeah.
I was a fan of the movie. I like the movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Apparently, Rudy in real life is not very nice.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of that movie.
Joe Montana's not a fan. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that movie wasn't all that accurate, or some of it wasn't all that accurate. But
still a good movie.
Inspirational movie.
It's a good movie for sure.
But Clint and I grew up in the days where we didn't have cable,
Mm-hmm.
and so Notre Dame was on Channel 4. They were the only school with a TV, the only one with a TV.
Really?
And so Channel 4 out of Little Rock, we could get it
Yeah.
on just an antenna.
Hmm.
So you could watch Notre Dame play every week. And I couldn't watch the Razorbacks play every week because, you know, unless they were playing a big game, they wasn't on TV.
Really?
And so, I was a Razorback fan first, of course, but I rooted for Notre Dame a lot. You know, Jerome Bettis and Ricky Waters and a bunch of those guys back in the day. But,
He's making us sound so old right now. Really are.
Hey, touchdown Jesus. Touchdown Jesus.
Touchdown Jesus. That was there for sure.
Yeah, we had 4, 7, and 11. I was the remote control.
That's right.
Like, Clint, go turn it to 7.
So you transferred back. Did you transfer back under Morris? You did, didn't you?
I did for his last year. Ineligible, sat out that whole year, and then became Pittman, I'm pretty sure.
Did you redshirt when you transferred back?
So I redshirted at Notre Dame and then transferred and had to sit out a year. So my first year playing was COVID year. That was chaotic. So
Yeah. What was that like for you? I mean, because here you are, you're finally going to get to dress up for Arkansas, and there's so much uncertainty, you know, whether we're going to, you know, whether you're going to get to play, what that's going to look like, and testing every day before practice. It had to be a nightmare.
And I'm glad it's over. I'm not going to lie, because there was a lot of just COVID testing, wearing masks, spacing out. We were having meetings in our meeting rooms. We were meeting in our indoor facility, all spread out with inflatable like screens to watch film on. It was a whole different, feels like a decade ago, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I do not miss those times at all.
You know, that was not a fun year.
No, it was a fun year for anybody, but I'm sure for like a football team trying to, 100 so guys trying to keep everybody from, you know, contact, you know.
Now, how hard was that? Because you got to think about that. Y'all going to play Georgia, first game of that year. Y'all didn't have you got a brand new head coach, brand new defensive coordinator, brand new offensive line coach for you, and y'all don't have a spring. Spring gets canceled. Mm-hmm. So now y'all got fall to put in this new system. And, you know, and I'm pretty confident Kendall Brawl's offense, probably there's a lot of calls and a lot of moving pieces. How hard was it to get that down for you guys? Amount of time.
It was pretty difficult, but I will say when we came back in the summer, because we hadn't had spring ball, we really started doing way more walkthroughs. When I say walkthroughs, they're pretty much like practices, like run-throughs during the summer to really get the install going. Because I mean, we didn't have spring ball, and that's really when you install for all the new guys, that like all the freshmen that can come in early to get in early on the playbook, and especially for us with a whole new staff. That was really the prime time to get everything going. And then I just remember coming back for that summer. It was pretty heavy, but we had Zoom meetings almost every single day during COVID, from March until about May when we came back. I think it was early June, late May. We had done Zoom every single day for a couple of hours on end of just going over position meetings and then unit meetings and then stuff like that. So they did a good job with it.
So pretty much had to make up for those physical reps with mental reps, I guess.
Yeah, right.
Trying to work through everything, get everything. But it helped. And y'all had, you know, when you came back and had a pretty good, decent start there.
Yeah, it's nice.
Talk about that transition from Morris to Pittman. What was that like for you?
I love Coach Pittman. You know, I like what he's done and how he's turned this program around. And you know, I'm very grateful to have him as my head coach, and especially as an O-line coach. You know, he's very critical of us. And, you know, I think that makes us better as a unit. And he's a good coach. I'm happy with what he's done here. And obviously, you know, with last week being a tough loss as it is, we're not looking back on it at all. And we got great things to come in the future here.
Yeah.
Oh, no, and that's got to be, because I was in a similar situation. You know, say played it is a overstatement, or understatement. No, overstatement. Yeah, I got to dress out and hang out on the sidelines, Luke, at Arkansas Tech. But our head coach Steve Mullins, who was on this podcast and told me and Travis that we're fat and we're not doing to get anything in shape. It's out of context, and I wish I could cut it out and make it my ringtone on my phone. Travis, Clint, y'all are fat and you're not doing anything to get in shape. And it's a 6-second clip, and I've listened to it 2,000 times. It's the funniest thing in the world to me. But yeah, he was the offensive line coach, but he's also the head coach. So it's a different kind of animal altogether when, I guess your head coach is considered the greatest offensive line coach in the country.
Yeah, for sure.
So
now when it comes to playing offensive line, you've played pretty much every position in your time. I guess you started out at center, I guess. Did you play center in high school?
I played left tackle in high school.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yes, sir.
But you were a center at Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah. I went from left tackle in high school, center at Notre Dame, came to Arkansas, played some center, mostly guard, played guard for the last 2 years, and then rotated back into tackle. So it's really come full circle from when I first started. But yeah, it's definitely been a crazy experience, but it's also helped me in my knowledge of football, knowing all 5 spots and have played there for semesters on end, and it's helped me become more knowledgeable of what to do overall.
Now in the off season and in preseason this year, that was the big question, who's going to be the left tackle?
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like when people would talk, you were just almost a placeholder.
Mm-hmm.
It was the way it kind of was perceived as reporters were reporting it, because, we're not insiders or anything. So we're not at practice or nothing like that, but they would talk about, well, whenever this happens, they're going to move so-and-so over there and all this stuff. But then all of a sudden they start talking, well, maybe Luke Jones is going to be it. Well, maybe he's got a shot to be it. And then all of a sudden he's the man. Now you had to fight for that position. Talk about what that was like having to earn that spot, because, they were trying out several people at that.
Mm-hmm. Well, really, that's been the story of my career. If I'm being honest, it's really just been a constant years of battling for positions, battling for playing time. And, 2020, I was battling for a spot with our left guard, Brady Latham, who's one of my very good friends. And, we had a good battle, and he's won that spot 2 years in a row. And I was his backup. I'd come in sometimes during the game and get some reps in. But me knowing that this was my last year, and having that left tackle spot open, and I wouldn't say it really pushed me to play harder, to work harder, because I feel like I was doing that already as it was, but just trying to remain more consistent, and like you were saying, there were a bunch of reports who were like, oh, he's probably not going to be the tackle. Oh, he's not, all that stuff. I just try to tune that out, and I'm glad and blessed to be in the position that I am today. And I think it's been a pretty good year.
Well, man, I think it says a lot about you, because like I said, I'd pay attention to the trade biddies and the people like that, and they would bring reports back and they would be like, yeah, whenever, when Dalton gets back, they're going to bring Crawford over there. And when, and when this is going to happen, they're going to do this. And I'm like, I'm hearing about all these other ones and even freshmen.
Yep.
But the one consistent was you were there the whole time, it seemed like. And then all of a sudden we start hearing, well, maybe, and the coaches start saying, Luke's got a good chance to win this. He's got a good chance to win this. And then of course you do. And that does say a lot about you, I think, because it was almost like they were trying to give it to somebody else, but you kept saying, no, sir, it's mine, baby. It's mine.
Yeah.
I got this spot.
Felt like that some days for sure. Yep.
That's awesome, dude. That's great.
So now, Luke, on the offensive line, one thing we always did at Tech is we'd find ourselves at the CC's buffet on occasion. So y'all find yourselves at a pizza buffet. Who's eating out of all the offensive line? Who's putting the most away?
Oh, Ricky.
Oh, Ricky.
Rick. Rick,
Isn't he one of the smaller guys?
Ricky Stromberg, our center. Yeah,
Well, he used to be one of the smaller guys.
he used to be. He used to be.
He's gained a lot of weight.
Yeah, I'd say he can eat the most for sure.
Really?
The fastest. He can eat the fastest for sure. I don't know about the most. The most, God, that's a tough one. It's either between Ricky or Wags, Dalton. Ricky can eat the fastest though, if that matters.
Gotcha.
I can see Wags putting down some pizza.
I actually put him back for sure.
Yeah. That's now. Were you jealous when he got his WWE NIL?
No, I was not. But I don't think anything else suits him better than that. To be honest, I thought because it's funny, we'd all joked about it with him for years, like ever since I first got here. Just because he's tall, long hair, he looks like a WWE guy. They came in with that NIL deal, and that was just hilarious. And we thought it was awesome. He thought it was awesome too.
That's
No, I wouldn't have turned it down if I was him.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Well, tell us about you're going against some of the defensive ends out there. We've had Jordan Dominic on here. We talked a little bit off there about him. But we got I guess Ricky Williams, not Ricky.
Zach.
Huh?
Zach.
Zach Williams. Sorry, Ricky's his dad.
Yeah, that's his dad. Yeah.
Gosh, I'm old. Anyway.
He's old. He's really old.
Sad thing, I was like 5 years old when he played, so I didn't even know. Anyway, but talk about some of those and those defenses. You got like a Hampton and Ball and some of those guys. Who are some of those guys that's really impressed you on the D line this year?
Oh man, we have a great D line, and each of them, to their own, has their own personal attributes that are just dominant. And one person that I've gotten to go against really the most, I'd say, is Zach Williams from camp and spring ball, just for being a tackle. And I'd say he's got the longest arms of like any D line on our team, I think. Maybe other than Landon Jackson, but
yeah,
he can press off you, get the long arm in, get that bull rush going. It's been a great opportunity because the guys that I go against, like Derek Hall and this week BJ Ojolari, they've got really long arms. So it's helped me be able to prepare for these moments, because he's a great player. I love Zach. He's got a great personality, and he's helped me a lot this offseason for sure, and during the season.
So would you say he's probably the defensive end that gives you the most fits over there?
Yeah, I'd say him, Eric Gregory, Landon Jackson, and Dominic for sure. All four of them are the guys I go against the majority of the time during practices. That they're great. They're great to go against because they all give me great looks that prepare me for Saturdays.
What has impressed you about Landon Jackson? We have him coming on next week, so
yeah, he's a freak. He's quick, and for being as tall and as big as he is, you don't really realize it. But he plays like it for sure. He's 6'7", I think. That's how tall he is, but you wouldn't really feel like he's 6'7", but you can, when you're blocking him, it feels like he's 6'7" because his arms are so long, and he does a great job of getting separation and great job in pass rush of getting your hands off and ripping under and grabbing hands and throwing them. And he's a great player, and that's also been another person I've had great encounters with during practices. That's helped me become better for sure too.
Well, tell us about what it's like blocking for KJ out there.
Yeah. Oh man, we love KJ. He puts it all out on the line every single Saturday. That's someone that you want to have at your quarterback position. Someone that's tough and gritty and will fight for those extra yards. Doesn't care about getting tackled. As you've seen on Saturdays, he'll dive at you if you're a safety. He's not scared to get in there and get dirty. And that's someone that, as a lineman, you take pride in blocking for, because being an O-lineman is very physical, very gritty, and it's been awesome to block for him this year.
And it seems like just kind of watching y'all, once again from afar, watching on TV, things like that. There seems that when he's in a groove, it just seems to be a confidence factor in all y'all.
Mm-hmm.
That when he's on his game, kind of like that last drive against BYU,
Mhm.
y'all just took over, said, "Here, we're closing this game out," and y'all have done that several times. Y'all been really good about that and kind of closing games out, keeping the defense off the field so
Mhm.
they could rest, and that's something that, that Arkansas struggled with, especially like under Chad Morris era and things like that. But there just seems to be when he's confident, when he's in a groove, it just kind of gets the rest everybody else confident. Is that something I'm seeing correctly?
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah. He comes up to us and always tells us to play with some swagger, play with some confidence. And, being an O lineman is, really trying to, what I'm saying? Like, if those are skill positions. That's a skill position job, play with some swagger, all that stuff. But he's saying that to us, and we're like, yeah, KJ, do your thing. We got you. And he's as confident as he's ever been. And it's awesome blocking for him for sure.
We'll talk about your offensive line coach. There's a lot of talk about him, Coach Kennedy. He's handpicked by Pittman.
Mhm.
I think everybody knew when he came in as a tight end coach that he would end up as the offensive line coach down the line.
Mhm.
Talk about what it's like playing for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great coach. He's very knowledgeable and he does a great job teaching us about the looks that the defenses are going to give us. He was a GA for Coach Pittman at Georgia, and then I remember when he came here as a tight ends coach, everyone knew that, and we knew he'd probably morph into the O-line coach. We didn't know it happened so fast, but it did, and we were happy to have him. He's ever since day one has pushed all of us to be the best we can be, and he's very. It's nice having a coach that you can go up and talk to about, like, you have a question on a play of certain look, hey, Coach Kennedy, like, can we go over this again? Yeah, for sure. He'll draw it up, we'll walk through it, we'll go over it until he knows that you got it right. So he does a great job of trying to instill confidence in us to play to where we can go as fast as possible.
So now, one of the things that I can relate on as far as being an offensive lineman that played college ball is it can be a mundane thing. It's especially during camp. What is a practice like for a University of Arkansas offensive lineman? Because I know they're not sexy.
Yeah.
They're not fun. It's not running through the A and playing it is ugly and it is gritty. What would your typical few periods look like?
Really, whenever you go to practice, you got to just flip a switch. It's going to be physical. There's no way around that. I mean, playing the position of offensive line, you can't have a day where you can't be physical and going full speed. So we always start off with pods, which are, like, we call them pods. It's basically just you and the D lineman face to face, run full speed at each other, and get warmed up a little bit. Get it going. And I'd say it's pretty physical from an O-line standpoint. But yeah, you can't really take a day off at that position for sure at all. You got to be mentally locked in for sure.
No, that's crazy that you just start off basically hitting another human being.
Well,
That's how
get you woken up.
Because we would always, I think we would usually start off in the chute.
Yeah.
You'd have to run through the chute.
Yeah.
And then Coach Mullins had actually invented these things called toe boards.
Yeah.
It was basically like he took, like, instead of like the ropes, he had made it out of 2x4s. Because an offensive lineman, you're not doing high knees down the court. Down the field, short stoppage, choppy step. So we'd have to do the toe boards. And so you're like, oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
Do that every freaking day. You could bet that you would have a period on there and you'd look on it to be shoots. And then you'd look at the period and like, okay, toe boards.
Oh, God. This is
more than one period.
Yeah.
So growing up in Little Rock, who were you a fan of football wise?
My neighbor was, I don't know if y'all know him. His name's Jason King. I don't know if you guys knew him. He went to PA. He played at Purdue and then went on to play for the Patriots for a couple of years. He's about 5 years older than me, but I just remember he was my neighbor too. And I remember him at PA, big left tackle. He wore number 72. That's why I wore number 72 in high school. I really looked up to him, and he's been a great person of contact for me through the years of getting through Notre Dame, you know, and I texted him and talking to him about college football and how crazy it is, you know, trying to figure some stuff out. And he ended up going to the Patriots for a couple of years, going to a Super Bowl. I think it was the year they lost to the Eagles. And
the next whole year.
yeah, I think that was the year. So he went to the Super Bowl, but didn't get a ring, but he retired after a couple of years, and yeah, for sure him.
Yeah, because he made the news when he retired. Because he's just like, I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, just done. He's a great player.
What was his name?
Jason King.
Jason Key. Okay.
King, like crown. Yeah.
Well, so what are there offensive linemen you looked up to besides him that you watch their game a lot?
I know Tyrone Smith for sure for the Cowboys.
Yeah,
That he was a physical beast. I mean, I loved watching him. Andrew Whitworth,
yeah.
Taylor Lewan are really the guys that I kind of followed throughout high school. And my uncle knew Andrew Whitworth's cousin or something and got us set up on a phone call or something. You know, he went to LSU, and I talked to him one time in high school, and I was all fanboy. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. You know, just talking to him about college and recruiting and things like that. And you know, he retired. I think he retired this year after they won the Super Bowl.
He played last year, didn't he?
Yeah,
He did. He won a ring last year.
Yeah, he's a great player and even a better person. You know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, I can see a lot of the Whitworth attitude in you, because you went through that position battle this year, and his attitude at Cincinnati was draft another left tackle and watch me beat him out.
Yeah.
Because I heard that's one thing I always remember about Andrew Whitworth is like, go ahead and draft somebody to try to replace me and watch me beat him out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they're always looking for that guy that's better than you.
Yep, they are.
Yep. Man, I don't know if we've ever talked about this. Who were the offensive linemen you looked up to?
I like Anthony Munoz, Tony Mandrich, which how that worked out in the pros, but yeah, that's who and I didn't play like any of them.
Yeah. mine was Anthony Munoz, Eric Williams, Larry Allen, the Cowboys offensive line back in the Emmitt Smith days.
Larry Allen was a freak.
That whole line was just.
Yeah, I know. Nate Allen. It's hard not to love Nate Allen, even though he went to prison.
Jumbo Elliott played for the Giants. I just like his name was Jumbo too. I thought
Jumbo.
Yeah.
That
was back when they were really good. Well, what's your major?
Sports management is my major. I've got a minor. I'm getting a minor in marketing as well. I'm actually in my last class that I'll have to take before I graduate this semester. Because whenever I transferred from Notre Dame, only 6 of my 30 credits transferred with me. So I really had to, I kind of had to really restart when I first got here, like a freshman year, and taking summer classes. So this will be, I guess I'll graduate in 9 semesters. This is my 9th semester total.
Why did they not? That's weird. They didn't. I mean, because Notre Dame's like.
Yeah. I had a long conversation with my counselor about that one, for sure. I was pretty upset.
Yeah.
There's a whole year of classes, you know?
Yeah.
They said, oh, those are Notre Dame classes. Those don't correlate. And I was like, all right, whatever. I finally gave up after a couple hours of debating back and forth.
Put them as electives.
I think at some point, 3 hours of English is 3 hours of English.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I did. Now I didn't go play college ball right out of college. I took a gap year or two. Mm-hmm. But when I went to play, I remember I got called in the coach's office like, hey, Clint, your hours aren't counting for what's it called? The remedial math, whatever it was called. Because, I wasn't, I didn't always apply myself. So I remember Coach Williams put the office like, coach, because we got to get 2 more hours. You're going to be ineligible, which, I mean, listen, they wouldn't have noticed. I wouldn't have got any less playing time. I'll just leave it at that. But I remember that's how I ended up in folk and square dance.
Oh,
So,
good.
yeah. I literally told that entire story, just tell you I took folk and square dancing.
That's right. So what do you want to
be.
do with that degree, Luke?
What'd you say?
What do you want to do with that degree? You got any ideas?
And I was talking to my dad about this a couple weeks ago. I've been around and doing football my whole entire life, and it's something I really know a lot of, and I might want to pursue into coaching after this. If I try to go to the NFL, it doesn't work out, or who knows what's going to happen after this year. But it's just something I'm very knowledgeable of, and something I've been around my whole entire life. And maybe coaching will work out for me, maybe not. I'm in a internship program right now with a real estate company up in Northwest Arkansas that's been awesome, and maybe go into real estate after this year is over. Who knows, and just trying to figure all that stuff out though.
Well, hey, just today, Jeff Saturday, the Colts former center, he got hired as the head coach of the Colts.
Really?
And only coaching he's done is high school.
Oh my God. I did not know that.
They fired Frank Reich, the head coach. And
I'm salty because I thought I was going to get the job.
Right.
They were going to call, although they call you boy Big C, like come coach the Colts.
That's right. Yeah, Jim Irsay just didn't make that phone call.
Yeah, maybe that's, I had a missed call. Maybe that was it.
Called the wrong number on accident.
Yeah. Well, no, that's cool, man. If it's something you love, of course, I know the dream is is always out there for NFL, and take, of course, you're going to take your shots there, hopefully, see what happens. And that's good stuff. What do you like to do with your spare time? You got any hobbies? You got any, Jordan Dominic educated us on anime.
Yeah, I heard him talk about that in y'all's podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a big anime guy. But,
So have you ever cosplayed, Luke?
No, I have not.
You didn't strike me as the cosplay type guy.
No. But no, I like to play Xbox. I have a girlfriend here who plays soccer, who actually recently tore her ACL, so that's been keeping me pretty busy. Taking care of her. But when I do have free time, I like to play Xbox with my buddies. Some guys on the O line. We play. It's funny. We actually play Minecraft. It's a really kind of a kids game. You wouldn't really expect a bunch of big offensive linemen to really play that game, but we think it's fun.
My 11-year-old was playing that the other day.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking with you. I wish I mean, hey, I'm like, whatever entertains you. I get it. I'm not begrudging you. I'm just, I'm the one that's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, this makes no sense. But I've also realized I'm becoming Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino. I'm like, get off my lawn.
Well, we talked about a little bit about you mentioned who the biggest eater is for the O lineman or whatever. But what's your spot to go to eat in Fayetteville? What's if you have somebody come visit you, where are you going to take them?
Oh man, that's a good question. I like Doe's a lot. Y'all ever been to Doe's?
I think I have. It was a long time
There
ago.
used to be one in Little Rock. There may still be. And
There's one in Little Rock. That's the original one. Is in Little Rock. They got one up here in Fayetteville. It's right on Dixon Street. Right by JJ's. Great steak.
Yeah.
I like that place a lot. I take my girlfriend there every time we have a little special occasion or something like that. But I'd say Doe's, and then there's another place called Hugo's. It's like an underground kind of burger bar place. Pretty good. I like it.
Cool.
So now I heard you say that your girlfriend played soccer.
Yes, sir.
Did you know anything about soccer before you started dating her?
No.
Not a thing.
No, I did not. I did not.
What's funny? Go ahead.
Hey, but he learned real quick.
I did learn real quick. That was my end to get. I knew.
So, what do you think of Pele?
Yeah. Right.
I love Brazilian soccer.
But we we went to the same high school and we've been friends forever. And then she's a year underneath me. And then whenever I transferred out back here, she was coming up here to play soccer, and we kind of rekindled our relationship a little bit, you know, and it's been awesome getting to watch her play. But, you know, like I said earlier, unfortunately, she tore her ACL a couple of games ago and going through that. But she's a great, you know, she's a great hard worker, you know, and she'll be all right. You know, I'm here taking care of her too.
Now, did y'all watch Welcome to Wrexham together?
No, but my dad had told me that we should for sure. I've seen
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Old man Clint says check it out too.
All right. I'll check it out. I'll
Check it out.
Here, I'm going to ask the question Clint normally asks. He hadn't asked it yet. So, what's your pregame rituals? You got any pregame rituals? Something you got to do to get ready? Certain socks you got to wear, or certain, you know, kind of certain things you got to eat or whatever?
I will say I am pretty superstitious about some certain things. You know, Friday nights in the hotel, I fill the bathtub up with real hot water, you know, and I sit in it, listen to music, kind of just hang out for like 10 minutes, and I turn on really cold and then go to bed. That's something I do every single Friday. And then Saturdays, I make sure I don't step on cracks when I'm walking in to the stadium. Any stadium, no matter where we are. I don't know. I've done it my whole entire life. It's some weird thing.
Does that go back to elementary, like step
Like
on
high
the
school.
break your mama's
High-
back kind of thing?
Like high school, not doing it. And I don't know why I do it, but it's always like a subconscious, like, don't step on.
Step on a crack, they'll tackle your quarterback.
I might have stepped on a crack Saturday walking into
Oh no. No. Stay away.
So I had a great point I was going to make, and I totally forgot it all. Just like it went away. It was here and it just went away. It happens more as you get older, Luke.
Yeah.
So are you going to be a little more fired up to play against two former coaches and a couple former players this week?
Yeah, for sure. You know, that's definitely an underlying factor going in Saturday, but I wouldn't say that's my biggest motivator for the game. You know, try not to let all that stuff play into, you know, the mental game of like, oh my gosh, like that's my ex O-line coach and head coach, you know, try to stay away from that. But, you know, I know obviously I'm aware of that situation, and like, I'm going to play any less harder than I do on a normal Saturday, but it definitely plays into it for sure, I'd say.
Yeah, you can't, like you said, you can't focus too much on that stuff.
Yeah.
But if you can, you know, make some pancakes and look over at them, you know.
Towards the sideline a little bit too.
Yeah, that's right.
I did remember what I was going to say when we had Reed Bauer on. He said that his traditions, he goes in, turns it on MTV, and it's always ridiculous. Always ridiculous. And he says, I said, what do you do if ridiculous not's on? He goes, it's never not been on.
Yeah.
It's his fifth year, and no matter where, it's pretty much Rob Dyrdek is always on TV.
And now every Friday night, if I'm flipping through the stations, I see ridiculousness, I laugh.
Yeah. You know he's watching it.
Right.
I'm like, Reed's got it on his hotel. But it's kind of neat because he said, you know, because even if you're in a different place, in a hotel or on the road somewhere, it's something familiar.
Mm-hmm.
But he knows no matter what, they're going to have that channel and that's going to be on. So
something to keep you grounded, you know, keep you distracted a little bit.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But well, man, you know, y'all still got a tough track the rest of the season, you know, with you got LSU, then you got Ole Miss, and then Missouri, and that's it, right? 3 more games.
3 more.
And I know the emphasis right now is, you know, of course, fixing mistakes and get, you know, just going out and getting back to Arkansas football. But I know that bowl game still has a, you know, what's it going to mean to this team to get a good bowl game this year?
You know, it means everything, you know, especially to the seniors that have been here the whole entire ride, you know, through Morris's last 2-10 year, which I was here for that one, and then coming to where we are now to be bowl eligible 3 years in a row, which I think whenever we are bowl eligible this year will be the third time in program history that we've ever been bowl eligible 3 years in a row. You know, and that's a big deal for us. And obviously, we want to finish out the year with a bang, go into a nice place in Florida or wherever our bowl game is. Last year we got the opportunity to go to the Outback Bowl in Tampa Bay, and that's also a big motivating factor for us too, because we want to finish the year out, like I said, with a bang. With a nice little trip, fun game, finish it out, get a little trophy, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you first got back to Arkansas, did you have a welcome to the SEC moment where you're just like, okay, I'm in the SEC?
I did.
Tell us about it.
And this is a story I tell people for sure, because when they ask me that, 2020, first game I've ever played, Georgia. We're playing Georgia at home. And I got in, I think it was the second series I got in, Jordan Davis. You guys know who Jordan Davis is. Big.
Oh, yeah.
Georgia D lineman,
Yeah.
This was in 2020, like right when he was getting all the hype. And, we had a, God, the stories. We run a reverse, and I was playing left guard, and everyone's running that way. Next thing you know, everyone's turning back, and I saw Jordan Davis. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go put a lick on him. I'm gonna go hit him. And I ran full speed, and he had saw me and dropped down just a little bit lower than me. And when I hit him, I got hit a brick wall, and I just got jolted back. He kind of let out a low laugh, and I was like, oh boy, that was pretty embarrassing, but that was definitely my welcome to the SEC. I think that was probably the third play I've ever played. That was the first year I was eligible and getting going. I remember that like it was yesterday. So
You probably chuckled, this kid.
Yeah, he was like, who's this guy?
Now, how did that go in the film session? Did it go?
Oh man, I don't remember, but I'm sure it wasn't good. I'm sure it was. I'm sure coach called it out, and it was like, oh boy, not a good deal.
Well, of course, mine wasn't near as good of an athlete, but in high school, one time I had a linebacker that our running back. I went and blocked my guy, and our running back was still up, breaking tackles, and kind of dancing around over to the side, and I'm like, well, I need to go block somebody else. And right as I turned, now this guy was all-state linebacker, but he was smaller than me, okay? He hit me right as I was turning.
Obviously.
He hit me right as I was turning. And dude, Luke, I literally, my hands did this.
We're all
And this was in the 90s, okay? So we didn't have digital recording stuff. My coach in the film sessions with a VCR tape is running it back with that little dial thing and showing it. Look at Earth. One of my nicknames was Earthquake back then. Look at Earthquake. So he showed it like 50 times, man. It was horrible. It was the worst feeling ever. Anyway.
Man.
But
good story.
Well, man,
nothing quite like being humiliated via VHS.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
But I think everybody has those kind of things, right?
Everyone's been through that. I mean, they've had to have,
So many moving parts and everything,
Oh, yeah. Everyone has those plays for sure. Guaranteed.
Now, what I know one of the things that we just kind of a question I have for you. One of the things, y'all run kind of both two main times of blocking schemes. Y'all run the zone blocking scheme, and then y'all will run a kind of a gap blocking scheme also. Which would you rather do? Would you rather do the zone or would you rather do the gap?
Man, it depends. I like zone scheme because I feel like it's less. I mean, I don't know. It's all kind of the same. They all flow together, but I'd probably say zone is more favorable to me than gap scheme. Not that I don't like pulling. I do like pulling, but I will say it's easier to create those big holes for Rocket to shoot on through, and It's, you know, because we know he's going to see it in the slightest hole, you know, and then once we see him hitting it, we can expand it all quick. And but I like Gap Scheme too. You know, we've had a couple big runs on Gap Scheme this year too, and it's always fun pulling when you see someone running full speed at you, you know, ducking their head right into you. You guys got to get a little bit lower, you know.
Yeah,
It's going to be put on national television as a highlight for that guy. So
that's right. Yeah.
the Gap Scheme's a little more stressful, I guess you could say, you know.
You probably ran mostly zone in high school, right?
Yeah.
I figured that's.
They did have a couple switch plays where they pulled me around, but you know, mainly we ran spread in high school. Like we probably pass it 75% of the game, just pass pro over and over and over and over.
Going back to that, you think your high school coach is going to be back in coaching soon?
I don't know. You know, I don't know. He's knows everything about football that I could name, you know. And I think he's a great coach, and I think if he wanted to, he would. You know, I think he's kind of figuring out what he wants to do, and he's doing some podcasts and stuff. You know, I went on a podcast with him the other day, a couple of weeks ago, with him and some other guys, and just talking football. You know, he's very knowledgeable, and I'm interested to see what he does. You know, I think he could get back into it, you know, if he wanted.
If he wants to, for sure.
Yeah, it's really up to him.
Any high school that has an opening, if Kevin Kelly wants,
yeah, right, it's for sure.
Kevin Kelly's going to get that
He's
opening.
going to get phone calls for sure.
Especially in Arkansas. I mean, it's like, you know,
Yeah,
legend.
Yeah. I live down here close to Camden.
Yeah.
Did you ever play Camden when you were there?
I don't think I did.
I don't think y'all did either. I think Camden played y'all when Broderick Green was there.
Oh,
A long time ago, and they y'all beat them in the semifinals. But Camden's one of those teams, you know, that they always have good athletes. You know, lots of speed up and down. I'd love to see Kevin Kelly on a team like that. You know, where it's, you know, like nothing but, you know, speed guys. See what he could do with that, because
for sure.
You know, where he's got a bunch of good, really good. I mean, not that y'all didn't have good athletes at PA, but y'all were very.
That was the thing, though. You know, his scheme was so good that we really didn't have that amazing athlete class. You know, I mean, we had some really good players. You know, but in terms of, you know, people talk from the outside. I mean, that was a trend that would be said about PA. You know, we don't really have the best athletes, but we have the scheme and we have the knowledge and we have the want to, you know.
Now, if I'm bringing up a sore subject here, I'm sorry, but did you win any state championships when you were at PA? I mean, I figured you did. I mean, like, they win it every other year, but I'm like, I didn't want to be that one guy.
You won 4?
Oh, okay. I would have worked that into conversation if it was me.
That's right.
I won 4 state titles, and
we won. Every year I was on the team. You know, we're the only class, my class, that has done that. I actually think that this year, if they win, they will have forfeited, because I'm pretty sure they won it 3 years in a row, if I'm not wrong.
Because they knocked out our alma mater last year. Me and Troy both played for Greenbrier.
Oh yeah.
So it was one of them deals that they knew when PA played Greenbrier was the championship game, but it was in the semis.
Yeah.
So yeah, then y'all.
Well, who did y'all beat in the finals? Do you remember? Of those 4?
Win twice, and then McClellan twice. Win twice.
That's right. Those McClellan games. You played in those. Those were intense, weren't they?
Oh man, those were some. Yeah, they had Pierre Strong was on McClellan. He's in the NFL right now. He went to South Dakota State, North Dakota State, South Dakota.
Yeah,
something like that. And he's in the NFL. I remember him. He was a freak. Actually, the only time I punted in my entire career, or not me, I didn't punt, but, you know, we punted, was the very last play I ever played. And it was 4th and 27. And we were on our own 2-yard line, up by, I think, 1 point in the state championship game my senior year. And we had punted it out, and then they got the ball and we made a stop and won the game by 1. And I almost made it 4 years without punting the ball. To the very last play.
now
I can't blame him on that. If there's ever a time to punt, 4th and 27 up by 1 in the state championship game from your
own two.
Yeah.
Probably.
You'd be surprised though. We've gone for it from those spots too.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know.
but that McClellan team was pretty solid.
They were for sure.
So that was a decision Kelly had to make there. I'm sure it hurt him to do it. But
Yeah. What year did y'all play at Greenbrier? Because my dad played at PA and graduated in '88 or '89 or something. I don't know.
yeah,
I graduated in 94.
we graduated in '94, but
Now back then, Luke, a long time ago,
that's right.
there were 4 classifications. There were 5 classifications in Greenbrier. B, which was all the basketball schools that didn't have football. A, AA, AAA, and 4A, and that was it.
And Greenbrier back then was just 2A.
Yeah.
So
I
we
think now
played
they're like 17A. There's an 18A
Yeah.
play.
Texas. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, and PA, they're doing good this year, but they're going to have it tough in that 6A playoff.
Yeah, I haven't really.
6A, they moved up to 6A this year.
Yeah.
And 6A's got Greenwood, Little Rock Christian,
New one's always.
Russellville, which I don't know if Russellville's that good, but like El Dorado, that 6A, Whitehall moved in, Pulaski Robinson. I mean, there's some stud teams in that in the 6A. It's probably maybe the most competitive conference.
Yeah, I need to keep up with it. I haven't really kept up with them in really the past 2 years, but I've heard they've been doing good, and
Oh yeah,
I'm sure Coach Lucas will have a good plan.
for sure.
He's awesome.
So Luke, which one, when you were on your recruiting visits, which place gave you the best meal?
Best meal?
Best meal. I don't care about the parties. Don't care about anything like that. Don't care about how good looking the girls were. Which one had the best meal?
I'm trying to remember back then. It was almost 5 years ago. Oh boy.
Was Notre Dame and Arkansas the only places you visited?
Yeah, official visits. Those were the only official visits I had gone on. Yeah. Because that was a weird time. It was a weird recruiting process is weird.
It is. Now, when you go on the road, which cities had the best food?
I'd probably say I'd take Fayetteville.
Fayetteville, you think?
I'd take Fayetteville for sure. After being in South Bend for a year, I'd say Fayetteville.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I got a feeling they do it better in Arkansas than they do in Indiana.
Yeah. I would agree with you on that.
Just a bunch of corn dishes in Indiana.
Yeah. Corn and wheat.
All right. We've asked this question of some of the other players too. Clint, this is normally a Clint question too, but which team that you played against has the best fans?
Best hecklers. Who gives you?
Make you laugh or just
Ole Miss. Ole Miss. They are ruthless. They are just, they are ruthless. Yeah.
all them hottie toddies.
I remember last year when we had, that whole game was just crazy. And then I remember after the 2-point conversion, it was just our parent section was right next to their student section, and there's it's kind of like inverted like this in the corner of the end zone. I just remember I looked over at the end of the game. Obviously we had not gotten the 2-point conversion and we were all like, oh gosh. And I was trying to find my parents and all the students were yelling at our parents and everyone was yelling back and forth and it was a whole commotion. And I just remember my dad's a super nice guy. Doesn't really get affected by much. It was those are the most annoying fans of just constant, yelling and heckling and all that stuff. So I'd probably have to say Ole Miss for sure.
Yeah.
See, Reed shocked us. He said it was Colorado State had some.
I wasn't here for that.
But he had a run in with the mascot or something. Like while he was warming up or something, the mascot did something to him. And he was like, "Is this really happening?"
You want to get this guy?
Well, Luke Jones, man, we appreciate you big time coming on here. Hope you enjoyed the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to stop recording here in just a minute, but I just want to, but stay on after we stop recording. We'll chat with you a little more before we let you go. But just want to say thanks, man, for coming on here. Like I said, we're big fans. We're rooting for you, man. And I know that last week you got to flush that, but man, keep going forward. We'll be rooting for you. And there are some fans out there that are level-headed, and hopefully we are sometimes. I can't say that for Clint. He gets a little.
I get emotional.
No.
But I will be there in Columbia, Missouri on the second row pulling for you.
All right.
In the Missouri section, giving them hell.
Yeah, that's what we need.
That's right.
Thank y'all for having me on. Very fortunate to be on this podcast with you guys. I had a great time tonight.
Oh, cool, man. Well, once again, we appreciate having a real football player on.
In them trenches.
We'll take those other positions. We'll have them on here. They're people too. They're people.
Right.
Too.
Right.
We love them. They're people too. But we understand. We understand what it's like when the coach says, "Yeah, you're a lineman. Go. Nope, don't touch the ball unless you're a center.
Get over there in those pads."
Yeah. If there's a fumble, just fall on it. Don't you dare pick it up.
Have a coach tell you this.
No scoop and score for you, buddy. Well, folks, thanks for watching and listening. Once again, you can check us out on Apple, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Google.
Travis's Farmers Only account.
FarmersOnly.com. I'm there with my brick green tractor. Not really. But thank you, Luke. Big C. Decent job.
I do better.
Hey, let's catch a tiger by the tail and whip that sucker back to Louisiana. How about you, Luke?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Listen, that's why I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Listen, I wake up in the morning, I bow my head to pray. Mama told me if I don't, ain't nothing gonna change. These prayers breaking up hard ground so I can sow the seed. Ain't afraid of no aches and pain. Lord knows I gotta follow his lead. That's why I swear